The morning sun had barely climbed above the skyline when chaos erupted inside the headquarters of Valtrex Dynamics, one of the world's largest defense technology companies. Employees rushed through the marble lobby as alarms echoed from every floor. Security teams sealed every entrance after technicians discovered a sophisticated explosive device hidden beneath the stage prepared for the company's billion-dollar product launch. The countdown had already begun, and panic spread faster than the flashing red warning lights. Standing in the center of the confusion, brilliant CEO Victoria Ashcroft forced a nervous smile and sarcastically declared that if anyone could defuse the bomb, she would marry them herself. Her executives laughed, believing no ordinary person could possibly save them. Then every conversation stopped when the elderly janitor quietly stepped forward, reached into his worn jacket, and revealed an old military badge that instantly silenced the generals who had just arrived at the scene. Before this unforgettable story continues, if you believe kindness, humility, and second chances can change lives, please like this video, leave a comment, share it with someone who believes people should never be judged by appearances, and subscribe to Kindness Paradise. Your support helps us continue sharing emotional stories that remind the world that true heroes are often hiding in plain sight. For nearly 8 years, 70-year-old Gideon Hale had quietly cleaned the hallways of Valtrex Dynamics before sunrise each day. Most employees barely knew his name. They simply smiled politely as he pushed his old cleaning cart from one floor to another, polishing glass walls, emptying trash bins, and making sure every conference room looked perfect before executives arrived. Few noticed the disciplined way he folded every cloth, the calm expression that never changed during emergencies, or the faded scar running across the side of his neck. To everyone inside the company, he was simply the elderly janitor who never complained, never arrived late, and always greeted people with quiet respect. No one imagined that decades earlier he had led one of the military's most elite explosive ordnance disposal teams, completing missions so dangerous that many of the official reports remained classified. After retiring from military service, Gideon disappeared from public attention following the tragic loss of his wife to cancer. Rather than accepting prestigious consulting jobs or public recognition, he chose a peaceful life where nobody expected anything extraordinary from him. Cleaning offices allowed him to stay busy while avoiding the painful memories of the friends he had lost during years spent defusing bombs in war zones around the world. His greatest pride was raising his granddaughter, Nora, after her parents died in a car accident. Every paycheck from his humble job helped pay for her education, and every evening he returned home believing that living quietly with dignity mattered more than being remembered as a hero. Meanwhile, Victoria Ashcroft had earned international admiration for transforming Valtrex Dynamics into a global leader in advanced security technology before turning 40. Brilliant, ambitious, and admired by investors, she believed preparation and intelligence could solve almost any crisis. Yet success had slowly built invisible walls around her. She often overlooked people whose titles seemed unimportant, believing that extraordinary talent always came wrapped in impressive resumes and expensive suits. Although she treated employees professionally, she rarely imagined that wisdom could be hiding behind a janitor's uniform or inside the hands that quietly mopped the floors before dawn. As military bomb technicians surrounded the device beneath the presentation stage, tension grew heavier with every passing second. Their advanced scanners produced conflicting results, revealing a design unlike anything they had encountered before. The bomb combined obsolete mechanical triggers with sophisticated digital safeguards specifically created to confuse modern disposal procedures. Even the senior officers admitted that a single mistake could destroy the entire building and claim hundreds of lives. The room fell silent as every expert studied the complicated mechanism, each one realizing that time was disappearing faster than solutions. Without raising his voice, Gideon slowly stepped beyond the security barrier and studied the explosive from several feet away. The pattern of the wiring, the unusual placement of pressure switches, and the aging metal components awakened memories buried deep inside his mind. He had seen nearly the same design during a classified overseas mission almost 30 years earlier. Before speaking another word, he removed an old leather wallet from his pocket and unfolded a weathered military identification badge bearing the insignia of the legendary Phoenix Unit, an elite bomb disposal division officially dissolved decades ago. The moment the visiting generals recognized the insignia, every one of them stood at attention. Expressions of disbelief quickly turned into profound respect as they recognized the name engraved beneath the faded photograph. The quiet janitor standing before them was not an ordinary employee. He was Colonel Gideon Hale, the decorated bomb disposal commander whose methods were still studied in military academies around the world. The entire lobby became completely silent. Victoria stared at Gideon with shock, unable to reconcile the humble janitor she had passed every morning with the legendary officer now being saluted by decorated generals. Yet Gideon showed no pride, no anger, and no desire for recognition. He simply looked once more at the ticking device and calmly explained that every second now mattered more than anyone's reputation. As the countdown continued to race toward zero beneath the bright morning sunlight streaming through the glass walls, everyone realized that the fate of hundreds of innocent lives now rested in the steady hands of the quiet man they had almost forgotten to notice. The bright morning sunlight continued pouring through the towering glass walls as an unbearable silence settled over the headquarters. Every ticking second echoed through the vast lobby while hundreds of employees watched Colonel Gideon Hale kneel beside the explosive device. The military bomb squad stepped back without hesitation. Their commanding general quietly admitted that no one alive understood this obsolete design better than the man now wearing a janitor's uniform. Victoria Ashcroft felt her confidence disappear. Only moments earlier she had laughed at the impossible situation. Now she realized that the quiet employee she had barely noticed possessed decades of experience that money, technology, and corporate power could never replace. Gideon carefully studied every wire without touching a single component. He closed his eyes for a brief moment, allowing memories from another lifetime to return. Nearly 30 years earlier, he had faced an almost identical bomb inside a crowded humanitarian hospital during an overseas peacekeeping mission. That day he had saved hundreds of civilians but lost 2 members of his own unit, men who had volunteered beside him knowing they might never return home. Their sacrifice had haunted him every day since retiring from military service. Looking at the device beneath the stage, Gideon silently promised those fallen friends that their courage would save lives once again. The explosive had been intentionally built to defeat modern bomb disposal robots. Hidden pressure plates, mechanical backup timers, and magnetic triggers meant that relying entirely on advanced technology would almost certainly activate the explosion. Gideon calmly explained that whoever designed it expected younger technicians to trust computers instead of experience. The generals nodded in complete agreement. Every recommendation made by the bomb squad matched the deadly mistakes the designer wanted them to make. For the first time in years, Gideon's forgotten knowledge became the only advantage anyone possessed. Meanwhile, Victoria ordered the building evacuated floor by floor while emergency crews established a wide safety perimeter outside. Although frightened employees hurried toward the exits, many refused to leave until they knew whether the elderly janitor would survive. People who had never spoken more than a polite greeting to Gideon suddenly realized how often he had quietly helped them. Some remembered mornings when he comforted nervous interns before presentations. Others recalled how he secretly repaired broken wheelchairs for disabled visitors or stayed late to help exhausted workers clean conference rooms after difficult projects. His kindness had always been present, even when almost nobody noticed. Working with extraordinary patience, Gideon began disabling the first mechanical safeguard using nothing more than simple hand tools borrowed from the maintenance department. Every movement reflected decades of discipline. Sweat slowly rolled down his forehead, yet his hands remained perfectly steady. The countdown continued falling minute by minute while military officers monitored every change. Suddenly one hidden spring released unexpectedly, causing several technicians to gasp in horror. Gideon froze instantly, adjusted a tiny locking pin by less than a fraction of an inch, and quietly prevented the secondary trigger from activating. The generals exchanged stunned looks, knowing only someone with his experience could have recognized the danger quickly enough. Watching from behind the safety barrier, Victoria no longer saw an elderly janitor risking his life. She saw a humble servant whose greatest strength had never been his military rank but his willingness to protect complete strangers without expecting applause. She remembered countless mornings passing him in the hallway without asking his name or learning anything about his life. Success had taught her to admire impressive titles while overlooking extraordinary character hidden beneath ordinary uniforms. The realization hurt far more deeply than she expected. If this story has touched your heart so far, please like this video, share it with someone who believes true heroes are defined by courage rather than appearance, leave a heartfelt comment, and subscribe to Kindness Paradise for more emotional stories about humility, sacrifice, and second chances. Special request. Please comment. Real heroes never need recognition to do what's right. With only a few minutes remaining on the countdown, Gideon finally reached the bomb's hidden core. His eyes narrowed as he recognized one final safeguard designed to punish anyone who assumed the danger was over. Everyone held their breath, knowing that the next decision would determine whether hundreds of people would walk away safely, or whether the headquarters behind them would disappear in a single devastating explosion.